with Black Box Silver and Bronze, and I've got a comic book haul to share with you. Let's check them out. Hey, comic addicts, it's Joe, and I have got a great haul of comics to share. I have been piling comics up since I moved, and I'm finally set up where I can show you some of these great things I got. So this is a stack of comics I've got probably over the past month or two, and I have so many more to show you. So let's get started. The first one I got this for $2.25, and this is Cowboy Pick Library number 215, and it's regarding Davy Crockett. And so this is a comic from England. It was a weekly comic, and it's black and white interiors, and it basically tells a bunch of stories about different Western heroes. Several of them were from Davy Crockett. And he is the hero of Tennessee. And since I'm living here, I figured, hey, let's get caught up on Davy Crockett. I don't know what this means, 10.D. That's some type of price in England. I don't know how that pricing system works. Maybe someone can tell me. The next thing I got was 3 facsimile issues of Phantom Lady. So these are just reprints. This is issue number 13, but basically it's a facsimile reprint. It's got the ads of the time, and it's just a great way to be able to enjoy these without breaking the bank. Okay, so I got 13, 14, that's a great cover, and 15, another great cover. So I pick these up so I can read them and enjoy them, and also enjoy seeing them, but not breaking the bank. What else did I get? This is a new comic, just came out last week or the week before, recently. Sabrina, the Teenage Witch Anniversary Spectacular. And the thing with this one is they've created a new character called Amber Nightstone. That's her up there. And so she's kind of Sabrina's foil. So where Sabrina is like a good teenage witch, she's kind of like a mischievous one. So it's a new character that came out, and I was able to get a copy of that. This one's pretty cool. Never heard of it before, but when I saw this, I wanted to get a copy because that's one of my favorite artists, Darwin Cook. So that's Lorna, the Relic Wrangler, and Darwin Cook cover. It was a one-shot. I think it came out in 2011, and it's got a great cover. I paged through it, and the stories, there's 3 or 4 stories in here, and this is one of those comic books where they have different creative teams for each story. So the first story, it looks pretty good. The art style is very similar to this cover, and it looks like I'm going to enjoy it. But the other stories, the coloring, the art, I don't know, there's something about it that's not really pulling me in. But I do like Darwin Cook's art style, so I grabbed that one. And that'll go up here with my other ladies behind me. So what else did I get? I got a promo comic called Santa to the Rescue. And so this is from about 1950. There's no date inside, but it's credited around 1950. And this is from the H.L. Green store. And there are different variants of this where different companies' names are down here. So some others I've seen is McCrory, McClellan. This one, there's another one where it's blank here. So if you see these, be on the lookout to know that, different stores were represented. The back cover has the store's name again, and then it's got this really cool art drawing of the kids with their train set under the tree. Another promo comic I got was The Story of Winchester, the gun that won the West. And this one is pretty cool. If you page through this, you see that it talks about the different style of rifles that Winchester made. There's a couple of pages where they're lined up next to each other and describes the difference. It talks about the NRA, talks about safe gun handling. It's a really cool little issue. And this is from 1956. All right, what else did I get? Another kind of oddball one, but I always seem to have oddball stuff, don't I? This is Paul Bunyan, Giant Lumberjack, and this is from 1968. And it was put out by the Paul Bunyan Center in Brainerd, Minnesota. And so basically it tells the different folk tales of Paul Bunyan, how his footprints made the Great Lakes, or not the Great Lakes, the 10,000 lakes in Minnesota, etc. I really liked the cover, the colors, sky. It just really caught my eye. So I picked that one up. And it's got a little stamp here from the Paul Bunyan Center. So that was pretty cool. Ever seen that before? I haven't. I did pick up this issue of Frogman Comics #9. It's from Hillman Publications from 1952. And usually these I find to be pretty pricey, but I found this one on my comic shop. I took a gamble on it. It's listed as poor. And sometimes the poor is because there's something missing, but most of the times they tell you if that's the case. And so usually the poor is just that it's like a detached cover, and that's what it is in this case. So it's complete. It looks great, presents very well. So I was able to get that for like a really good price. I also found this one. This is a very unusual comic. This is called The Christophers. Let me take it out of the bag because the lighting's a little bit tricky here. But this is The Christophers. It has a wraparound cover. This particular copy is in amazing shape. It's really, really nice and tight here. It's in great shape. So this was produced by the Catechetical Guild. So it's a religious toned book. But the main story in here is like anti-communist. And so it's talking about, this is from 1951, and it's talking about how communism and Nazism and fascism basically, they lead you on like to think one thing's going to happen, but then, it becomes very brutal. And so it's got some interesting panels in here regarding, the communists and the Nazis. And I like this one here. This one. And then, as I said, it's also religious. So there is a picture, Christ there, but you got these different things going on. So that was pretty cool to find that and to find it in such great shape. Really happy to find that one. Then I found some cool comic. I've never heard or seen of these before, but this one is really cool. Look at that cover. This is called Adventures of the Dover Boys, and this is from 1950. And if you haven't heard of this before, could you guess what company produced this? Like by looking at it, you wouldn't think this, but this is Archie. This is an MLJ publication. The artist is Harry Lucy. And so there was only one issue of this. There was something in here that, I think was at the last page or maybe it was in the front page, but it said, hey, if you like this, let us know. Then, we'll keep this comic going. But they must not have got a lot of feedback. But it looks so cool. And so they're kind of like 17 and 18-year-old boys, kind of like the Hardy Boys. And they go on these adventures. And there's a cast of characters. The first page inside the front cover lists the different characters who, are part of the story. And basically the first page inside the front cover is basically a narrative, like setting up like who these guys are and what, the background. So you could just get right into the story without, having to see their origin or anything like that. But I thought that is so cool. I'm going to put that up on my wall. I'm in my comic room. I've been spending some time getting my house unpacked, but I've also been spending time in here. I've been putting some shelving up, as you can see behind me. So the whole wall behind me The shelves all the way up to the ceiling. This wall over here on the other side of the window, I still have to do. Across to me, I got 3 shelves up to the ceiling that are going to go across the top of my boxes over there. And so I'm going to be able to be in here and just like put these things out and enjoy them. And this is one that I definitely plan on putting up because it just really calls to me. I think the colors, the story, everything about it was really good. And then after I found that, I also found this one. And this one, I couldn't get the sticker off and I don't have new bags yet, so I apologize for that. This is called Sam Hill Private Eye, and it just kind of has the feel of this other comic. I mean, looking at them, they look kind of similar. And so it turns out this is also from 1950, the same year as that. This is Sam Hill Private Eye #1. And it's also from MLJ, Archie Publications. So that's why it looks so similar. This one ran for 7 issues. The Dover Boys only 1. So this one had a little more staying power. But basically, this guy, he's kind of like Sam Spade. He's like a hard-boiled detective. So it's kind of like a noir, hard-boiled detective kind of story. So I'm looking forward to reading that one as well. And those two kind of went together. I was happy to find this one, as beat up as it is. I don't care. This is Walt Disney's Brer Rabbit, Song of the South, the Tar Baby story. And so this one is pretty pricey when you find it in very nice condition. So this one is pretty beat up. It's complete. As you can see, the cover's got quite a few pieces missing around the edge, but you look at the main cover and you get a really good image of the artwork. So I'm happy to have that one. The back cover is kind of beat up. It's got some pieces missing like this, and it's taped together with some like packing tape that's kind of like a brown paper bag. Do you remember that one? It's kind of gluey on one side. The other is kind of like a brown paper bag. That's what's holding it together along the spine. But I think that will look just fine sitting up there on my shelf as I look at that. That is a 4-color, number 129 from 1946. Another oddball thing that I found. I find lots of oddball things. How about this one? Captain Marvel's Lieutenants of Safety. I've never heard of this before. So what is this? It's a Fawcett comic from 1950, and it's all like newsprint. Like, so the cover's not glossy. It's like a promo comic. And basically it gives kids tips on being safe around the house, on job sites, etc. But I've never heard of or seen of that before. So if you know anything about it, drop a comment and let me know. This one is super cool. Really happy to find this one. Recently, I have been turned on to Al Cap because when I got this Wolf Gal right up here, I loved reading that. It was hilarious. And so I've been trying to pick up some Al Cap's little Abners when I can find them at reasonable prices. And sometimes they're not very reasonable, but this one was. And this was one of the ones that I also liked the cover on. So this is Al Cap's Little Abner, number 73 from 1947. And I'll pick them up if they're inexpensive because I enjoy reading them. But some of them I just really like the covers. This is one of them. So that woman there, her name is Jinx Rasputinberg. And the names of these people, the dialects they speak in, the situations they're in, it is hilarious. So I was really happy to pick this one up. It's a VG. This is why, right down here. This, like, I don't know, looks like gnawing, like an animal gnawed it or something. That's it. This comic looks, let me just put it down there so you can't see that bottom. This thing looks amazing. That's it. That little thing down there in the corner. And it's got this great image of Jinx Rasputinberg. She is the prettiest girl in all of Slobovia. And so all the guys are trying to court her and get her to pick them to be her husband. Here's kind of an oddball that I picked up. I found this very cheap. This is Holiday Comics, Animals on Parade. It looks like it's the Easter issue. It's got Easter eggs over here. It's got the Easter bunny. And one of the reasons I picked this up was because I just wanted to have some LB Cole art in my collection. And as you can see right there, this is a comic book that he did. And so most of his comics are out of my league, but I thought this was a cool way to have it. And I actually like the cover. This one, Night Tiger turned me on to this one for my trains on the cover. This is World's Finest number 80 from January of 1956. I have been looking for this one for a while. It's always been more than I wanted to pay. So Night Tiger, pointed this one out to me, and it was a good price. So I snagged it. This is number 80. It's the second lowest issue that I have of World's Finest in my PC. I have one lower issue. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but I'm going to drop it in here. It's the Victory Garden issue that I got that several years ago. This comic cracks me up. It's a great train cover, right? And also I love seeing this Batmobile, like when you see the Batman issues or Detective Comics that have this Batmobile on the cover, it's always cool, right? The one which I think is the first Batwoman, she's riding a motorcycle, and this Batmobile is, set behind. So there you got Batman and Robin riding alongside this train that's, going out of control because something's wrong here, right? And here's the hilarious part. Superman is planking so the engineer can walk across to safety. Why didn't Superman just fly in, grab the guy, and take him off? Why is he planking? I don't get it.
Oh, for God's sake. Planking is a very stupid and dangerous trend. Basically, you lie like a plank in weird places. That's it.
But anyway, happy to have that. At one time, this belonged to Butch Taylor. Now it's mine. All right, this one I think is super cool. Let me know if you've ever heard about this one before. This is called 3D Love. This is from December of 1953, issue 1, Stereographic Publications. And so I saw this pop up on eBay. And I have a handful, maybe 5 or 10, 3D comics that I've picked up. But I saw this one, and there was something that was saying, like, this thing is rare. And so it had make an offer, and I made an offer. And while I made the offer, I was getting nervous. I was like, I should have just bought this thing because I'm sure that it's rare. But my offer was accepted. And so once I got this, I looked it up in the Gerber guide, and this is a Gerber 7. So a Gerber 7 is considered scarce, that there's 21 to 50 in existence. So that's pretty cool. And if you read the paragraphs that are next to the Gerber ratings, it goes into like a little more narrative. And so for a Gerber 7, it says it's scarce, 21 to 50 in existence. But it also says you have to be lucky to purchase one, that they rarely come available. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now, this is not a high grade one. It's got a lot of damage along the spine there. But still, I mean, to have something like this that is, hardly ever seen, I think that's pretty cool. What else did I get? Going from golden age to modern, I picked up Jughead number 89. And, it's got a little bit of damage here over the J. I don't really like that. I hope at some time I can actually find a better copy but sometimes this one is more money than I'm willing to pay, because this is the first appearance of this redhead, Trula Twist. And so she's kind of like a foil to Jughead. It's an interesting story. She creates this organization. She's like a psychology student, I think, or maybe a psychologist. I think a psychology student. and she's trying to like figure out, what makes him tick. And so there's kind of like this, uh, she's trying to get in with him, so she can get in close and like find out what makes him tick. And so it's kind of like a romance and everything, but it's, not for the right reasons. So I've been looking for that one. I'm really looking forward to reading this one, and happy to finally have a copy of that. I have a few more raw copies and then 2 slaps if you've stuck with me. This one is super cool. You're going to be glad you stuck around for this one. This is Fantastic Comics, number 11. It's an Ajax Feral publication, and it's from February of 1955. I only recently became aware of this comic. I recently saw it, and it was like a slabbed copy, like over $500. So I did a little searching, and I found this raw copy for a lot less. And it's the cover split. It could be conserved, but it presents so nicely. And when I saw it, I was like, I just really want to have this and put this up on the wall and enjoy it. I love the color purple. And so I love the sky, the pink down here, and how it blends into the purple up here. That giant robot wreaking havoc. I love that. He reminds me of the robot nemesis in the Doctor Who TV series. I'm going to put that in here. They were silver, but something about the shape of the head, like those, that kind of triangular shape of the head, reminds me of that. They had a name. I can't remember their name, the something men or comic men or something like that. And then this woman down here, does that remind you of anything? This situation down here reminds me of Action Comics #1, where that man, he's down in this corner though, he's like, oh, and he's running away from, Superman lifting the car, right? Looks kind of similar. So this one is, I'm so happy to have this one. I think it is so cool. I love it. It's now like, this has got to be in my, my top 10, top 15 for sure. I love this one. Now, spoiler alert, there's not a single story about a robot in here. So that was kind of a bummer. But the stories in here do look really cool, but there's none about a robot. Another cool comic I've been looking for a while is this one. Two-Fisted Tales, number 35 from October of 1953. And here's why. Special issue Civil War. So there is a Two-Fisted Tales issue number 31, which is a Civil War issue that I purchased. It's got the Monitor and the Merrimack on it. And I was looking for that. It was hard to find a copy that I wanted. There was one that was really faded, like the blues on it were really faded. I really wanted to enjoy the true colors of it. And I just couldn't find it. I finally found it. And then I found out that there were 3 Civil War issues. So Two-Fisted Tales 31, this one, Two-Fisted Tales 35, and also Frontline Combat number 9. So this was the last of the 3 that I was looking for. There are plenty of copies of this on eBay. It's not a scarce comic. It's not a scarce comic, but they're really pricey. And I rarely see them. I don't think I've ever seen this one in the wild. So I finally got a copy that was to my price point. Now, it's got extra staples holding it together. This is really on the low end, but it looks just fine and it's complete and I can read the whole thing. So I was really happy to get that one. All right. What else did I get? This one is a comic that's got an interesting story to it. This is Sheriff of Tombstone, number 4. And I saw somebody show this comic about maybe 2-3 years ago. And I've been looking for this comic since then. This is from July of 1959. I think it's just a really killer Western cover. I mean, that perspective is really cool. And all that detail of the sheriff's badge, his gloves, and the holster wrapped around his leg. It's really a great piece of art. So what's the story? I purchased this on eBay, not this particular copy. I purchased this on eBay last year. It never shows up. And it's come in media mail. And I contact the post office, and they're like, oh, it's media mail. It'll be there in a couple of weeks. Just hang on. So anyway, it never shows up. But because I waited, it went past the time period that like you could do a claim on eBay. So I'm contacting the seller and I'm like, hey, this never showed up. The guy ghosts me. He never responds. So in his listing, it says, hey, I work for this comic shop. I'm helping, to sell some of their comics by doing it over eBay. So I look up the comic shop. It's in like Indiana or Ohio, something like that. And I look it up and I call them and I'm like, hey, let me talk to this guy. They're like, he's not here. And I said, well, he's on eBay. He's saying that he's selling your comics for you. And they're like, oh, not again. They're like, he used to work here years ago and we let him go. He's gone nuts and we let him go and he doesn't work for us anymore. And we told him, get that off of eBay. You don't work for us. So I explained to the guy what happened. He's like, look, he says, I'll try to reach out to him. We have his number. We'll try to reach out to him, get this resolved for you. Well, it never did. So that was just like money gone. But and then I just haven't seen another copy at like a decent price and decent condition that I wanted until recently. So I just picked this up and I'm really happy to have that one. I got another robot cover. This is Magic Comics number 19. That's Mandrake and the Robot. And this is from February 1941. It's a David McKay comic. And it's a Gerber 5. So it's not particularly scarce, but it's a comic that, although I guess it's not scarce, you just don't see it that much. So I did buy this one. It's got some issues. It's got these stains. It almost looks like maybe someone was drinking coffee and spilled coffee on it. They look like they haven't soaked in. They're almost like on top of it. And I think somebody that knows what they're doing could get those off. I don't think they'll come off with an eraser. I might try a little bit. And then up in here, it's quite dirty. The yellow up near the top is quite dirty. And if that could be clean, I think this comic would look gorgeous. It's complete. The issues are on the cover. It could also use a press. There's sections where it's a little wavy, so it did get wet at one time. And the first page has a tear, like about maybe a 3-inch tear, like down like this. Other than that, this thing is really solid. It's supple. It's tight on the staples. And then the other issue is you see this yellow stripe here. This is faded or bleached out or something because this is supposed to be red, just like red right across the top there. And then the cape here is also supposed to be red like the rest of the cape and the light on his body and probably as well as his hands down here. This should have all been red. So something happened there where it either bled out or bleached out or sun faded. But what a killer cover. Isn't that killer? So this is the other cool robot cover I got. Spoiler alert, not a single story about a robot in here. So both of those were kind of bait and switch, but cool covers. And this is the last Raw comic I'm going to show you. This is Flame number 3 from 1955. It's an Ajax, and it's also a Gerber 6. So I have been wanting an issue of Flame in my PC for a while. And I've seen some here and there, but they're always super expensive. And so this one was a very reasonable price because it's fair. It's totally complete. The front cover is split and detached from the back cover. So it looks fine. It presents very well in the bag, but it's got the split cover. But for my budget, I'm thrilled to have it because it's really cool to have this comic, this Flame comic. And also, I'm looking forward to reading it because I noticed down here when I got it that it's got this hammer and sickle down here. wrong side. Hammer and sickle down here. And so I'm assuming that it's probably got some kind of anti-communism issue. The other thing is the art itself does not remind me of Jack Kirby, but like the action, the way the action that's going on this totally reminds me of Jack Kirby's style, who I'm a big fan of. Two final comics. These are slabbed, and I got these just because they were great deals. So the first one is Usagi Yojimbo, #1, first printing. This is from July 1987. It's in a 9.6, and this is his first solo title. So I think he appeared in Albedo #2, and that comic book is like astronomical. This one can be very pricey too. So in a 9.6, there's 2 issues on my comic shop between like $450 and $550. And I wanted to have a copy of this, but I didn't want to. I really like this character. I'm reading the current run. I've read every issue since the current run came out. I didn't know about this guy or read him in the past, but I was looking for something to read. I picked up an issue of the new run, and it's fantastic. It's it tells like the history. There's historical stuff about Japan woven into the stories. It's very colorful. It's the pacing is good. Like I really, of a comic that I'm reading, I really enjoy reading it. So I thought it'd be cool to have his first solo run, but I didn't want to really pay, that kind of money for it. So this one was listed for $300, which I thought, wow, that's a really good deal since they're going for $450, $550, and it had make an offer. So I made an offer. I think I offered $200, and it was accepted. Like I did it on a whim, not thinking I was going to be spending that money, but that's a killer deal. So I'm really, really happy to have this one. It's going to go up on the wall across from me so I can enjoy that. And then the last one is a Golden Age comic from the summer of 1942. It's Foremost #3. And there is nothing special about this comic book. The reason I got it was because it was a really good deal. I got it for $40, basically like the price of slabbing it and shipping it to you, $40. And you get a comic as well. And this comic is a war bond issue, right? It has the buy the war bonds there, which is cool. But I just thought, for that price, it's the American flag, and I'm patriotic, and I will enjoy having this up on my wall and having a flag in the room here, which is tied to the summer of 1942 and World War II, and it'll just be really cool to look at. So that's the flag cover issue that I just thought, why not for that price? So Comic Addicts, that's it. I have got tons of books to show you. I've got my computer and lights set up now, so I'm going to try to keep this rolling and just show you all these great things I've gotten. And I hope you've enjoyed that. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.